What's up, everyone? We are diving back into the multiverse today for another epic. Which is what if Naruto walked the path of legends with Kushina, Samui, Haku and Yakumo and built harem, part 3. You enjoy this story? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more fanfics like this. Now, let's dive right into the fanfic. Was the reply of Kushina, as this quite surprised Raiga, and with just milliseconds of surprise his head was almost being cut off, but now he is sure that Kushina's sword skill must be way above him. As their fight carried on, Raiga was getting frustrated because he had stated to receive small scratches and cuts from Kushina. At first, he still can perform several lightning attacks, but soon after decided to preserve his chakra because he knew that her chakra reserve was a lot bigger than his. After seeing that Kushina was staying on the defensive mostly, he couldn't conclude that she was just playing with him or she was just trying to catch the best opportunity to defeat him in one move. Watching that Kushina once again defect his blades calmly without even a bit of shock or surprise, Raiga soon began to be nervous and lost his stance. When he once again tried to cut her head with a wide swing of his swords, Kushina dodged by crouching under it and swiftly appeared behind Raiga with her sword returned to its hilt. Sword art. Half moon slash. Kushina exclaimed, and in just a moment Raiga's back was being injured by Kushina's upward slash, and if he didn't jump in the last second he is sure that he is now laying on the ground out cold. Cough. Yield. Kushina orders as she points her sword toward the Thunder of the Mist, who is now one knee on the ground and has his mouth cough out blood together with his hands begin to shake while trying their best to hold onto the Kiba blades. Everyone was startled when they heard lightning crackling loudly with an exclamation. Lightning blade. Kushina was very familiar with the jutsu and saw Kakashi sprinting towards Zabuza to finish this fight. For Haku, yield Uchiha, don't make me kill you. Haku commended as she has successfully put the dog user to sleep with her needle, but she was also quite surprised that the Uchiha would awoke his bloodline, the Sharingan, after he saw the dog user fell unconscious, but even though the lack of experience has still caused the defeat of the Uchiha and has him on one knee. Go screw yourself. I am an elite, I will surely kill you. The Uchiha threatened, although he is still able to break Haku's mask when he just awoke his Sharingan and deliver a solid hit on a surprise Haku. But the sudden loud lightning crackling sound from the bridge startled everyone including Haku. From the corner of her eye Haku found out that the one-eye ninja was charging a final attack towards Zabuza-sama. Zabuza-sama! Haku yelled in horror, as she quickly forms an ice mirror and teleports just in front of Zabuza, planning to sacrifice herself to intercept the killing blow. Zabuza-sama. Naruto-kun. With Naruto. Faster. Faster. Naruto thought as he quickly run toward the bridge, but as soon as he reaches the bridge, he was surprised to see that Kakashi is charging up a lightning blade and aimed towards Zabuza, but the suddenly intercept of Haku, who appeared just in front Zabuza, almost caused his heart to stop pounding. No. 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 The blonde yelled as he quickly dashes toward the battlefield with the thought to save Haku fills up his mind. It seems that fate has chosen to let Haku die, and no matter what he does he can't stop the attack in time. Haku! Exclaimed the blonde, but unknown to him his Mangekyu are active and suddenly everything around him begins to slow down like they are moving at an extremely slow speed. I wouldn't let you die. Was all in the thing he is going to do no matter the cost. With the sudden time around him suddenly slowing down, he can and he will be able to save Haku. With him just inches away from Haku and the lightning blade, he quickly forms a blue spiral in his hand. And just after he finished forming the spiral, the flow of time returns back to normal again. Third person POV. Lightning blade, Rasengan, exclaimed both shinobi at the same time and crashed their attack together as this shocked everyone on the bridge. Naruto-kun. Naru-chan. Ah! Naruto exclaimed to a surprised Kakashi, as wind element is more powerful than lightning, so Kakashi's lightning blade was being pushed back and soon after it created a small explosion with the result of Kakashi being blown backward. Gaining back his conscience from the sudden appearance of the blonde, Zabuza quickly raised his sword once more and decided to cut the blonde in half, but clank! Haku! His blade was being blocked by a thick ice wall that his apprentice created. Zabuza-sama. Zabuza, Raiga, please put down your weapon. Gato has decided to betray you all, that's no point to continue this fight anymore. The blonde stated out, and this caused both shinobi from Konoha and the missing nins to be shocked. How can we trust you, and how do you know that Gato has betrayed us? Zabuza asked with full of doubt, as he looked toward Haku, who gave him a nod, requesting him to listen to the blonde first. I can't prove it to you, but he can. The blonde said as he pulled out a scroll and unsealed the unconscious person laying in it. Gato's advisor, speak. Naruto commended as he used a water jutsu to wake the man up. Seeing that Zabuza is just beside him, the man quickly yell out. Zabuza-sama, please help M, tell them the truth or I will kill you. Naruto threatens the skinny man and once again activates his Sharingan with his kunai pointed toward the frightened man. Gato-sama has decided to kill Zabuza and Raiga after they kill the Konoha shinobi, and he plans to capture the ice user to sell her to the slave market. Mumble out the man with a shaky voice. Move, kid. Zabuza ordered without any emotion, and Naruto can only let go of the man. As for the man, thinking that Zabuza may have saved him, he quickly crawled toward his savior, but only to be cut in half by Zabuza's giant blade. Gato, that bastard. Zabuza roared in fury. Clap, clap, such an unexpected outbreak. Do you agree, Zabuza-san? As the mist dissipated, behind the clapping sound it reveals Gato and his large band of thugs behind him, proving him that there was indeed a double-cross plan just like the advisor told. Seeing that the old bridge builder is still alive, I assume that you couldn't complete your mission. Demon of the Mist and Thunder of the Mist. So, the fat and ugly man finally grew a spine, The injured Raiga mocked with a mirthless chuckle as he walked to Zabuza with shaky legs, and Kushina also rushed toward her. Naru-chan. Gato gritted his teeth in rage and yelled out. You all traitors of your country should be dead by now if it is not because of me. The fat businessman yelled, but then he smirks. But as expected from you and your rotten whore ice user, but don't worry, we will still get what we want, in this moment. And now, kill them all. Gato ordered and has all his thugs rush onto the bridge. We shall. No, boy, you will stay here. Raiga stated without giving any place to retort, which shocked the blonde and Kushina. This is our fight, our final battle as a proud sword man. Raiga stated and gave a nod to Zabuza. Let me accompany you then. Zabuza-sam, you will stay too, Yuki Haku. Stated out the demon of the mist without turning his head, and this shocked the girl. Why, Haku, you have followed me for the whole 10 years. Zabuza said as he turned to look at Haku. There comes a time when the bird will need to leave its nest and search for their own path. Haku, you have accompanied me far enough, it's time to you to crave your own path. With a rarely seen smile toward the girl, who immediately has her tears flowing down her eyes. Zabuza-sam, Naruto boy, take care of Haku if you dare hurt her. Just simple remember, I am a demon and I will come back and hunt you down even I am dead. The demon warns sternly, and has the said blonde replied with an assurance nod. Boy, said Raiga as he throws his blades to the blonde. Use these babies well, will you? I will no longer be needing them anymore. Raiga said as he once saw the yellow flash appear in front of him, unlike last time where he still had his doubts, but this time, he is sure. Take care, Haku, Namikaze brat. Both Raiga and Zabuza stated before both swordsmen rushed into the wave of thugs, fighting elegantly, proudly, just like their title, the demon that scares the enemy and the lightning that will crush anything. In the end, both Zabuza and Raiga killed Gato and restored peace back to wave once again. As for both Zabuza's sword Kubikiribocho and Raiga's Kiba blades, both sword masters have entrusted their weapon to Naruto and Haku. Kakashi said as he finished his reported for the C rank that it turned into an A- rank mission. And you just allowed both brats to take both such powerful weapons without doing anything. Jonin Kakashi came from the deep and stern voice of the advisor of 3rd Hokage Danzo while thinking of a possible way to have Hiruzen force both genin to hand out those blades. It was Zabuza and Raiga dying wish. I see nothing wrong for both Naruto and Haku to be the new wielder of those blades. Not to mention that, Naruto is under Team 9 leader Jonin Kushina. He will have great potential to become a great sword master in the future. As for Haku, she was once the apprentice of Zabuza, but still. That's enough, Jonin Kakashi. If there's nothing more to add on, you may take your leave now, the old Hokage commanded, and interrupt his advisor to keep bargaining for the weapon, as he knows too well about his old friend. If he allows this conversation to continue, Danzo will surely find a way to force those blades into his own hand. After giving a polite nod to the village leader, the white-haired Jonin walked out the office and left the Hokage and his advisor alone in the Hokage office. Hiruzen, I believe you are also aware of those weapons. They are one of the masterpiece that village hidden in the mist holds. Think of that if those blades are given to more suitable user. I do aware of that weapon Danzo, however I see no reason to force both our genins to hand over those weapons. They may be young, but with Kushina being their teacher, they will surely become great sword master in the future. Third Hokage replied, puts down his smoking pipe and stand up from his seat. You put too much faith in those brats Hiruzen, and what about the female ice user? Why did you simply agree to let Kushina be her teacher? You should have at least taken her to interrogation. There weren't many ice users in the world already. Hiruzen, not after what happened to those bloodline users in Mist Village. The old war hawk continued his pursuit, not giving up his hope to obtain more power. To interrogate what? Danzo. When the girl steps into this village, her status still remains as a civilian and not a shinobi. Why do I need to interrogate a normal civilian? As for her arrangement, she is truly potential Danzo, and she just passed all the genin tests given by Iruka-sensei. She is now a genin of Konoha, my friend. Thus, I see no reason to interrogate a Konoha genin, the old Hokage replied, without turning his attention to Danzo. Seeing that the old Hokage had made his decision and left no argument for him to make, the old warhawk clenched his fist with anger under his robe. You are making a mistake here, Hiruzen. The ice user and those blades. They will cause a lot of trouble to us in the future, and be assured that day will come eventually, just you wait, the Lonai elder threatens, before he walks out the office and slams the door. They won't, Danzo, thought Hiruzen as he lit up his smoking pipe and looked at the pictures of Hokages that hang on the wall. The new generation of Konoha sure have quite a lot of potential hidden in them. I am glad, however. There are some cases of missing children among Konoha. I have given too much power to Danzo, it is time to stop him now, the old Hokage thought before he walked back to his seat and pressed on the button under his drawer. Your order, Hokage-sama. Immediately 4 elite Anbu appear in front of the Hokage. Uzumaki Estate. Meanwhile, Haku-chan, this is your room and the room beside is my room, while Ka-sama room will be at the end of the hallway to the right, Naruto said, as he brought Haku to a room with a queen-sized bed, a closet and a dressing table with a huge shelf beside it and an attached bathroom. As for Haku herself, she was transfixed that she finally has a place to stay at, a place she can call home. Not long after she lost her family in the blood purge, she began her journey to wandering around the world with her master Zabuza. Most of the time, both master and apprentice can only stay in the forest, as staying in a town or hotel may cause them unwanted attention, since Third Mizukage has sent many hunter nin to locate Zabuza and most probably aiming for the bounty on Zabuza's head. Thank you, Naruto-kun. But can I really stay here? I mean, shush, of course you can, Haku-chan, besides we are teammates, right? The blonde said, comforting Haku with a smile and assure her that what he said is indeed true. At first, Naruto was worried that Hokage may not allow Haku to enter Konoha or need to interrogate her first, but surprisingly the Hokage not only allowed Haku to join the shinobi force, but he also arranged her into the same group with him. For Haku, she was also worried when she first stepped into Konoha, as she was the apprentice of Zabuza, and if the Hokage know about her bloodline, the worst thing happened to her is that she maybe turns into a breeder machine to reproduce the almost extinct Yuki bloodline. But now she is very fortunate to be able to be with the boy that keeps showing her kindness. She still can remember the day when Naruto brought her around Wave to give some food to those families that can't pay up the high rental that was set up by Gato. It was from there she felt the world is not only about killing but having kindness too. Thank you, Naruto-kun, for everything you did to me. And also Zabuza-sama. Haku whispers quietly before she hugs the blonde boy tightly with tears filling her eyes. Haku-chan, Naruto replied, as he returned the embrace. After the battle on the bridge, both Mizu Rouge Nin sacrificed themselves for the sake of the country. Thus, the new bridge was being named as the Bridge of Hope, and the black-hair apprentice of Zabuza had cried at her master's grave for almost a day before she agreed to go back with him to Konoha. Dinner is ready, came from the voice that belongs to the red-haired lady Kushina, and breaking the touching scene between both teenagers. Annoyed. Yes, She was really being annoyed by the new member of Team 9, although she did really sympathize for the young girl, but the presence of Haku has given her a feel that this young lady Mayor will steal her Naruto from her. Why do I have a feeling that I just allow a rival for my Naru-chan into our family? Kushina thought with annoyance while looking at the young love teenagers that immediately pull away from each other after they heard her voice and have their face blushing bright red. Let's go, Naruto-kun. Thank you, Ka-sama. Naruto thanked Kushina with his face blushing and made Kushina force smile when looking at the younger black-haired female. Are you jealous of that girl, Kushina? The Nine-Tails Demon Fox asked as he felt Kushina change of emotion. Jealous? Why would I be jealous toward that girl? I mean, my bust is more developed than that girl and I am also more beautiful than her. Why would I be jealous? Kushina retorted to her inner demon. TCH human, I can't really understand why your species will have this kind of feeling. For us demons, we just found a nice partner and we are different, Kurama, I mean. I can't just jump on Naru-chan. Say what you want, Kushina. Just don't be regretful if that black-haired girl takes your boy away from you, Kurama replied before he closed the channel and went back to sleep. Ka-sama, Naruto asked from the living room and brought the crimson hair Uzumaki back to the reality. Coming, said Kushina before quickly walking down the stairs while setting her mind she won't allow this new girl to steal her Naru-chan away. Konoha root base. Danzo-sama. The whole team of blank masks Anbu greeted obediently to the man with his right eye covered with bandages. How did it go? Danzo asked the shinobi beside him. Danzo-sama, the condition of specimen remains stable. If we can successfully extract the power, or demon, hidden inside the girl, we may have chance to take control of it power, the mask Anbu reported as he hand over the report that has the name of Yakumo Kurama to his master. Jonin Kurenai, are you certain that you haven't told the power that this girl holds to Hokage? The elder Danzo asked and he turned his gaze toward a worried-looking Kurenai who was standing just beside her student that is currently unconscious and being strapped on a table with seal formula all around it. Yes, I didn't tell Hokage about Yakumo, Kurenai answered before she turned around and glared at the old war hawk. After this, I don't want to see you and your men bother me or my student ever again, Kurenai threatened as she glares at the man angrily. Yes, you have my promise and I will return your father's relic to you, the old war hawk replied, as he didn't care about the Jonin's family business but only for the power that he can acquire from her. For the girl whose name is Yakumo, she was just like a normal girl but born with a weak body, she was unable to perform the physical activities required of a ninja. Worried about this development, her father petitioned the third Hokage to grant Yakumo a special tutor to allow her to become a proper ninja. Just like Rock Lee, Yakumo can't use any ninjutsu but she is truly a gift in genjutsu art just like what her clan was famous for. However, her power has a drawback, it was quite unstable and eventually there is an inner demon being kept inside the young girl. During her usual training, she lost control of her power and the demon being kept inside of her was being released and took over her body. When Kurenai and other Jonin reach Yakumo's home, it is all too late as her parents sacrifice themselves to reseal the demon that is locked inside Yakumo. Blaming herself for causing the death of Yakumo's parents, Kurenai felt that she was unable to train Yakumo anymore and eventually refused to give her any further instruction, leaving the young girl to her clan members that blame her for the death of their clan head. As for Danzo, after he heard of this news he threatens Kurenai to bring Yakumo to his base as for exchange he will return the relic of Kurenai's father who was an ex-root member that died in the Third World War. Begin the extraction, Danzo commanded and the seal formula on the table began to glow with an angry red color. Keep going, Danzo commanded as he ignored the pain that the young girl Yakumo currently felt and tried to break the seal that locked the demon away by force. Yes, but suddenly a male voice that doesn't belong to Yakumo came out from the young Kurama girl's body and next thing happened, everything went dark. Half an hour later, Uzumaki Mansion. Calm down, was the thought of a certain crimson hair Uzumaki as she was trying to persuade herself not to fight with Haku right now. It seems that after their mission from Wave, the new member of Team 9 has been following Naruto everywhere he goes. It was understandable though since the young girl just lost her master and father figure. However, Seeing that another girl trying to get his Naru-chan attention has caused her to have half of some of her specific activities that she shares only with her Naru-chan to be limited. Naruto-kun. Haku mumbles softly as she lays her head on Naruto's shoulder comfortably, even though she didn't think of anything improper but the blushing face of Naruto and the Uzumaki that has her hair start to float like nine tails almost cause a war between women to occur. Bam, 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 just when the spark of war almost causes an explosion, a sudden hurried knocking on their door breaks the heavy atmosphere. I will go check it out. I will go too, Ka-sama, Kushina said, but the unusual hurried and rapid knocking on the door has alerted all residents in Uzumaki Mansion. Kushina-sama. Just when the door was open, an unexpected guest showed herself in front of the mansion. Kurenai-san. Sensei. Kushina-sama, please, you must help us. Danzo's experiment on extracting the demon from Yakumo's body has failed. Kurenai said in a state of panic and had her sweat keep flowing down her head. Calm down, Kurenai. Who is Yakumo and how can I help you? Kushina asked, but with the Uzumaki mansion protected by the blood seal, Kurenai couldn't step into the mansion. Yakumo is my student and she has the most powerful genjutsu in whole Konoha. Danzo planned to extract the power she cannot control that hidden in her body. She is now being kept at the basement of Hokage Tower. Please, Kushina-sama, you must reseal Yakumo's power or Konoha will be destroyed. Kurenai pleads and has her eyes slowly losing focus. Damn it. It too fast. Kushina-sama, basement, Hokage Tower. Was all Kurenai able to said before she suddenly fell backward onto the ground and fell unconscious. Kurenai-sensei. Watching the older woman fall unconscious, Naruto was going to bring her into the mansion first, however he was being stopped by Kushina. Wait, Naru-chan. Kushina warned and stopped Naruto from stepping out the mansion. Kurenai is right. I can feel a powerful genjutsu was being cast in Konoha. Kushina said as she directed Naruto to look at the sky. The weather in Konoha has changed into thunderstorm, but the thunder was in mysterious crimson color. Erg, what was that? Haku asked and pointed toward a group of people that was not far away from the mansion. Several shinobi with blank faces slowly walk toward them, but they walk in a slow and unusual way. Be careful, Kushina. They are being controlled. The Nine-Tails Demon Fox warns his holder from his jail. Bring her back. Yakumo, master. Those shinobi mumble as they approach Kurenai. Kurenai. Naruto, stop. If you step out of the mansion now, you will be in control too. Kushina commanded and summons out her chakra chains and blocks the pathway. We can't do anything now, not until we find a way, Kushina said, and can only watch as a shinobi carries the unconscious Kurenai on his shoulder and walks away with the rest. Damn it, Kushina-sensei, is there any way that we can get to the Hokage basement without being detected? Haku asked as she also worries about the current situation. I am not sure now. Ka-sama, what will happen if we can't undo the genjutsu in time? The blonde asked while he himself began to think of a way to the root base. With this kind of large-scale genjutsu, if we can't undo this genjutsu in time, those who are under the genjutsu may be trapped inside their nightmare forever, Kushina concluded. Kurama, can you protect me to get past the genjutsu without being affected? Although I have confidence to be immune against genjutsu, but I was once being controlled under Madara genjutsu, better not put yourself in danger, Kushina, the Nine-Tails Demon Fox replied with a frown on his face. Speaking of genjutsu, your son has awoken his bloodline, hasn't he? I believe he may make it through the genjutsu. No way, not a single way I will risk Naru-chan to being controlled by an unknown monster, Kushina retorted and began to think of another way. Kushina-sensei, I may have a way to get past the genjutsu, Haku said and attracted the attention of both mother and son. My demonic mirror can create a mirror world and it can be used like a portal to get past the genjutsu without being affected, Haku suggested, and this surprised both Naruto and Kushina. Are you certain this can work, Haku? Kushina asked. I am certain because I have gone into the mirror world for times, but it requires a lot of chakra to maintain its stability. That's why I only use the demonic mirror for battle in a short distance, the ice user explained. Ka-sama, I will go then since you can help Haku-chan with the chakra part and I have my Sharingan to protect me for a short time, Naruto suggested as he volunteers himself. But, trust me, Ka-sama, I will bring back Kurenai-sensei and her student, Naruto said with confidence. This also caused Kushina to be in a difficult position, no matter how much she didn't want Naruto to risk himself, but under the current situation it seems this is the only way. Sigh. Very well then. Please be careful Naru-chan, if you meet any trouble just flare your chakra when you are in the mirror world. I will use my chains to pull you back, Kushina reminded the blonde, and she gave a nod to Haku. After the said ice user received a confirmation nod from her teacher, an ice mirror was being cast out of thin air. Be safe, Naru-chan-kun, both females said, with the blonde giving them a thumbs up and jumping into the mirror world. Later, Root Base. After Naruto came out from the mirror world and back to the real world while Haku tries her best to send Naruto to the nearest location to his destination, the other exit of the demonic mirror is linked to the window at Hokage office. The moment Naruto steps out from the mirror, he sees that everyone in the Hokage office has fallen unconscious, even the Professor Hokage also failed to escape from the genjutsu. The Hokage and his Anbu seemed to try to fight the genjutsu at first, as they had formed the hand signs already before they fell unconscious. After using his Sharingan to find the entrance toward the hidden base of Root, Naruto successfully found the secret pathway, but when he steps into the base the scene in front of him surprises him. A girl with long brown hair and light brown eyes has her hair tied straight on one side, but on the other side it is in a braid. For her outfit she wore a pink kimono held closed by a pink sash with 2 pockets on the front and a violet baggy pants which cover her red mesh armor underneath her kimono and legs, along with sandals that were orange in color. The girl was sitting at the end of the Root base, totally ignoring the current situation outside the world, and kept drawing on her drawing paper. Who are you? Why are you here? The girl asked with a stoic face, and her question surprised the blonde Uchiha. If you are also here to seek for my power, please leave. I have nothing left as Ito has taken control, was the words that said by the girl. No, I am here to protect you, Naruto said as he steps into the hall. Kurenai-sensei said the same thing to me years ago, but in the end she abandoned me. You can't protect me, no one can, Yakumo replied, and suddenly there was an weird but demonic voice ring through the hall. Oh, I just wonder why there is still a place that isn't controlled by Yakumo's power. Now I see. They have some special eyes. An old and rusty sound coming from an old man suddenly rang in the hall and caused Naruto to tense up, but Yakumo didn't seem to mind at all. Ito, Yakumo commented, and then the said demon, who is now controlling Danzo's body as a vessel, walks out from the corner with his crimson eyes that belong to the demon, looking at Naruto. Please come in. Sorry for not being able to meet you immediately, as I have to discard some people, the demon Ito said with a chuckle as he pointed toward the corner of the hall, where there lay several corpses of Root members. This old guy did actually know some way to immune genjutsu. But even so he still becomes my puppet, the demon commented, and with a wave of his hand, the environment suddenly changed. It changed into a dark space with lace beneath. Your little tricks wouldn't work on me, demon, Naruto stated with his Sharingan active, but even he couldn't disable the genjutsu illusion cast by Ito and can only see part of the reality. The power of Yakumo girl holds is surely terrifying and almost causes him to fall into a nightmare. Oh yes, you have the eyes. The eyes of Madara. Come here boy, what would you say if we work together? The demon suggested and used the body of Danzo to give a smile, but it seems more creepy than the usual bored face that Danzo has. In your dream, demon, Naruto stated and refused the deal. Oh, it seems you decided the hard way, Ito said with his smile gone, and suddenly those corpses laid at the corner of the hall suddenly moved again and lunged toward Naruto in a creepy way. Enough of these tricks, Ito, you can't fool my eyes. Just when those corpses almost touch Naruto, it all suddenly turns into dust. Of course. But how about this? Asked Ito, and with a sea of his hand. Let go of me. Let go. 2 familiar voices suddenly appear just behind Ito, and the 2 females that are supposed to be at the Uzumaki mansion appear in the basement. Let me go, roared Kushina and tries to break free, but has her hands being tied up, with Haku also the same. You can't fool me, Ito, said Naruto, but did his eyes fail him, or he just can't see through the genjutsu? His Sharingan should be still active, so there is no way that Ito can trick him with his Sharingan active. Oh, but you do have your Sharingan active, right? Do you want to see whether they are real or not? The demon asked and pulled out a kunai, pointed directly at Haku's throat. Quote. This can't be true, right? Both of them should be safe in the mansion now, but what if Ito's actually find a way to break in? Naruto thought quickly as he almost instantly fell into panic and didn't know what to do. But, I don't wish that, Ito said with a chuckle as he cut the ropes off, and almost instantly he put his hand onto both Kushina and Haku's head before Naruto could react. What did you do to them? Naruto yelled and immediately rushed toward Ito with the Kiba blades slashed toward the demon, but the old gazer actually managed to dodge the attack and land steadily. Nothing. I just show you what you can do with these powers. Girls, please your man. Yes, master, were the words said by both Kushina and Haku as they pulled on Naruto's shoulder and pushed him backward. Ka-sama, Haku-chan, asked a surprised Naruto, as both Haku and Kushina were like having their mind washed away and only leave with pleasure and arousal as both ladies moved their hair behind their ear, all the while staring their master Naruto with sensual devotion. How can we serve you, master? Asked both Kushina and Haku. Before Naruto can said anything, he finds that he is in his mansion like the rescue never occurs. Master, whisper both girls with husky breath, and squeezing their generous bust, swaying their shapely hips in a UAL way. Master, please play with us, out both Kushina and Haku as they both start to discard their clothes, with Kushina and Haku pulling up their t-shirts over their heads. After they discard their shirt, Kushina shows that she wears a black sport bra underneath it while Haku has bandage wrap around her S, but the bra and the bandage that cover the girl's S were also quickly fell to the ground. Feel them, please touch them, master, as both girls walk idly toward the blonde and direct his hands onto their S with his left hand on Kushina and right hand on Haku's. Out both girls, as they press their bodies closer to the blonde and squeeze their DD size S and high C cup S tightly with Naruto's body. Master, as Kushina suddenly grabbed Naruto's chin and pulled him into a deep kiss, and let him explore every inch of her mouth, with seconds later Naruto pulled away with a string of saliva stretched between the two. Ka-sama, Naru-kun, Haku. After Kushina ends her kiss, Haku quickly pulls Naruto into another kiss. Let us serve you, whisper Kushina you ally while having Haku kissing Naruto. Kushina hand slowly traveled toward south and unzipped his pants and pulled down his boxer. So big, out Kushina as she smiled hungrily and wrapped her hands around the base of her master's and gave it several pumps. Before she ate the tip happily and slipped it into her mouth. Ka-sama, Naru-kun, said Haku as she directed Naruto another hand into her trouser and into her panties. That's good, you can feel it right. Naru-kun, I am so wet, because of you, out Haku you ally as she blows out some hot air into Naruto's ear. Feeling that her master almost reached climax, Kushina without hesitation forced herself as deep down as possible and eagerly swallowed every drop of his cum into her stomach. That's tasty, Naru-chan, said Kushina withing before she you ally pulls down her pants and show the already drenched black lace panties to her master. Just accept this, master, and you can have as much woman you want, said Kushina and has her hand tugs at the hem of her panties. Master, out Haku as she once again closed the distance between herself and Naruto, preparing for another deep kiss. Accept. You are wise, master, you will always do the right choice. Wait, Ka-sama will never say that. The words that Kushina said immediately cause Naruto to be alert and the illusion immediately disappears, showing that he is still in the basement and only 1 minute has passed. Wonderful, isn't it? Ito asked with a smile, but he is also shocked that this boy can actually destroy the perfect illusion he cast on him. It seems this boy has some real potential in him, unlike this old and rusty body he is using now. Just accept the deal, boy, you have seen what the power can bring to you, right? Ito asked, and with another wave of his hand the unconscious form of Kurenai was being brought toward him. With this power, you can, Ito said, and suddenly Danzo's body fell onto the ground and Kurenai opened her eyes. You can do anything you want, Kurenai said in a seductive voice, who is now being posed by Ito and swaying her hips left and right toward Naruto. You can do anything to her, the woman said in a sweat and UAL tone while turning a circle showing the gorgeous hips, generous bust and beautiful face of Kurenai. Any woman you desire can be yours, as Kurenai slowly slid down the white binding that hung from her shoulder and exposed the red and fishnet mesh shirt before pulling down the zipper of her dress and pushed the fabric down to her hips, and the only thing left for Kurenai to cover herself is her red lace bra and panties that were quickly being discarded. Well? Asked Kurenai with a of her lips and gave a wink toward Naruto as she stood fully in front of the boy. Enough! Yakumo yelled and broke the scene. Don't you hurt Kurenai-sensei! Yakumo demanded as she tried to use her power against Ito. You little! Ito roared angrily. He was furious that this girl still dared to oppose him and tried to lock him into a genjutsu. I will kill you once I get out, Mangekyo. But it was that second Naruto activate his Mangekyou and quickly carry Yakumo toward the Hokage office. Hope this can buy us enough time, thought Naruto, but this is the second time he uses his power. What? Yelled a surprised Yakumo as in the last second, she is trying her best to take back her power, but when she realizes again, she is now being carried by the blonde boy. Let me go, you pervert! Yakumo exclaimed and tried to push Naruto away. Hey! How come I am a pervert? You saw Kurenai-sensei's body and, your nose is bleeding, the girl complained and pointed out the most obvious part. I am a man, okay? Who wouldn't get excited when you see great beauty? Retorted Naruto, but as soon as he steps into the mirror world, he can hear that there is another person jumping into the mirror world too. Yakumo, please take this, Naruto said and handed a piece of paper that had an unknown seal formula on it. This is a seal formula and it can prevent Ito to pose your body ever again, you just need to seal it. Why? Why do I need to believe you? No one ever cares about me. Everyone is always afraid about my power, mumbled Yakumo. Kurenai-sensei care and so do I, she was the one came to seek our help when Ito began his madness and I do care also or else I wouldn't be carrying you now, Naruto replied, and this surprised the girl greatly. It has been years since she was being treated as an outcast, a demon, an unwanted tool that was once destined to bring glory back to the Kurama clan. You can't run away from me, Yakumo. Ito roared, but it was in Kurenai voice. Who is chasing after us? Don't you dare turn your head back to look at Kurenai's sensei body. If you do I will kill you, threatened Yakumo and glare at Naruto. This place is strange, I can't summon out my minions. No matter what, I will kill Yakumo and take over the body of that Uchiha, thought Ito and chase after Naruto and Yakumo using Kurenai's body. But just when Naruto almost reaches the portal he suddenly stops and turns his direction and runs toward Ito. Is he out of his mind? No matter, I will, Mangekyo. Naruto exclaimed and flare his chakra. Just after Naruto flares his chakra, golden chains suddenly emerge from the exit of the mirror world and toward himself. However, using the power of his eyes, Naruto avoids the chains but directs them to Ito. And when the time returns to normal, Ito finds itself bound and was quickly pulled out of the mirror world. Haku, close the mirror, exclaimed Naruto just after Ito, who was using Kurenai's body, was being pulled. He also follows behind and jumps out the mirror. Extract. Seeing the person that her chain binds to as Kurenai, Kushina is shocked at first but quickly understands what is happening and pulls out the demon that posed Kurenai's body. Why can't I use my power? Ito thought, but what he didn't know is that he is now in the Uzumaki mansion and any genjutsu power was useless in here. And it quickly looks toward Yakumo and tries to go back into her body. Ito, the moment you left me, is the moment I decided to walk away from you, Yakumo stated as the demon closed in on her. Seal, exclaimed Yakumo and took out one of her drawings with the paper seal Naruto gave her behind the drawing and had Ito being edged straight into the drawing. No, was all that was heard of the last demon. With the demon gone, the unusual weather in Konoha also disappears. Naru-kun-chan, exclaimed both women happily as they pulled the blonde into a hug. You did great, well, said Haku and Kushina happily and forgot that. Where am I? Kurenai mumbled as she looks around her surroundings with some headache. Kurenai-sensei, exclaimed Yakumo as she hugs her teacher. Yakumo, sensei, thank you, said Yakumo as Kurenai softly patted her head. It's all right now, whispered Kurenai softly. Kurenai-san, you should really thank my son for this, you know. With the voice of Kushina alerting the black-haired Jonin as she quickly turns to face the crimson-haired Uzumaki. Kushina-sama, said Kurenai, and then all the memories of her body when being poses by Ito returns to her and she lower her heads only to find. She is. Ah! Yelled Kurenai with her hands trying to cover her body while yelling pervert toward Naruto. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the current Hokage of Konoha, the great god of shinobi, and teacher of the legendary Sannin, was not having a good day. First, getting Kakashi report about the C rank turn A rank mission has given him very much trouble, not only because he has assigned the last Uchiha into the mission, but he also gets threatened by his old teammate afterward. And now, Hiruzen just woken up from the genjutsu that almost killed everyone in Konoha. The first thing he did after he woke up was immediately send out his personal Anbu to investigate the reason behind the chaos. Soon later, he got the report from his Anbu, and the report stated that there were many civilians and Genin was still in a coma and the hospital was having trouble treating the overwhelming number of patients. And the worst part is his fellow advisor Danzo, who also holds a part of military power and also the one who was responsible for Konoha spy network, was being found at the Root's secret base, also in coma, almost causing Hiruzen to destroy his desk with his fist. This incident is no doubt related to Danzo's experiment, and having several Root agents being killed in such a terrifying way is proof of that. Curse you, Danzo! The old Hokage roared in furious and threw the report onto the floor. Tiger, get all available Genin team leader into my office, Hiruzen ordered while cursing his old teammate in his mind. Danzo, you better give me a good explanation after this. After you wake up, I am so going to get back the military power I gave to you. 30 minutes later. These are all the available Genin teams. The Hokage asked and almost couldn't believe what he was seeing. Out of Konoha 20 Genin team, there are only 3 teams remaining. Team 7, 8 and 9 are available. Yes, Hokage-sama, as most of the Genins are either in coma or being treated at the moment, reported Tiger. What is the matter of Hokage-sama? Kakashi asked. As an ex-member Anbu force, he knew too well about the current situation, but since other team leaders and Anbu members are present in the office, he has to remain his usual attitude to prevent panic. Team 7, 8 and 9, I am giving you a joint mission. As you all know that many people suddenly feel sick and went into the hospital, I want you all to find one of the legendary Sannin Tsunade and bring her back to Konoha, Hiruzen ordered while hiding the details about the true reason. Yes, Hokage-sama. The leader of Team 7 and Team 8 said and left the office with Team 9 leader Kushina still staying in the office. Do you have any questions about Kushina-san? Hokage-sama, I have something to report about the reason behind this chaos, Kushina stated as she then proceeded to take out the drawing that contains Ito in it. This is the reason behind the chaos, an inner demon that is being sealed within Kurama Yakumo. Following Kushina words, Hiruzen began to recall the events that occurred several years ago. During that time, he assigned the soon-to-be Jonin Yuhi Kurenai, a genjutsu specialist, to be the teacher of young girl Yakumo. Since the bloodline of the Kurama clan is rarely being active and the last Kurama clan member that has active his bloodline was during the era of first Hokage. His plan was to have Kurenai teach the girl to control her power, but the accident that resulted in both Yakumo's parents' death had forced him to shut down this training program. He only learned that there was a demon that kept inside Yakumo, but nothing more beyond that, as the investigation of that program was being carried out by Danzo. Sigh, I should have known sooner that Danzo was hiding something from me, the old Hokage said in defeat and picked up his smoke pipe before inhaling and exhaling large amounts of smoke while thinking how he should settle all this mess. Hokage-sama, I request to put Yakumo under my team as Team 9 last member, Kushina requested. This did make the old Hokage raise his eyebrow in return. You want to train Yakumo? Yes, Hokage-sama. I may be not excellent in genjutsu, but I can train Yakumo's physical, and if her power lose control, both mine and Naruto's seal art can't prevent any incident that may occur. The Crimson Uzumaki reported. Her requested does make the old Hokage reconsider for a while, but just after a minute he agree with her request. Very well then. I shall prepare the paperwork for Yakumo. You are dismissing Jonin Kushina, the old Hokage said with the said Jonin gave about a Hokage and left the room. Truth to be told, Kushina was first planned to let Kurenai to train Yakumo instead of her team, but the said Team 8 Jonin has requested Kushina to took Yakumo into her team first, as she still needs some time to make decision on how to train the Kurama girl after she had failed her before. However, The main reason behind Kushina's decision was her son Naruto, who also requested to take Yakumo into her team, which she also thought might be a great idea to distract Naruto from Haku. A decision that she regrets very much and might want to bang her head onto the wall hard in future. Konoha Gate. An hour later, 3 genin teams that were available had all gathered at the front of the village gate. Who is that girl, sensei? The only female member in Team 7 asked while pointing at the brown color hair Kurama clan member. Quote, comma dot. She is the new member of Team 9, I presumed, Kakashi replied while waiting for Kurenai's team to check their luggage. All right then. Seeing that Team 8 are all prepared, Kakashi puts down his book and walks to the front of 3 teams. Listen up. I am the leader of Team 7, Hatake Kakashi, and head captain of this joint team mission. Now I will brief you all with the details of this mission, Kakashi said and pulled out a map from his pocket before signaling all members to gather around him. Our mission is to find one of the legendary Sannin Senju Tsunade and bring her back to Konoha, where she was last spotted in the hot spring country, Kakashi explained. Team 8 lead by Kurenai Sensei will be at the front of the formation as to scout any potential threats along our way. Team 9 will be just right behind Team 7 as Kushina Sensei has good reflex and can provides cover to both teams quickly if anything happens, the Jonin said and folds the map. Now move out. The silver-haired Jonin ordered with Team 8 leading the team. Good thing I don't need to see Naruto's face. Though, Kurenai thought in her mind as she is still embarrassed from the previous event that occurred in Uzumaki Mansion. To be honest, before the accident occurs, she only thought Naruto as a handsome young man, but after Yakumo told her everything she did when she was being controlled, Kurenai almost wishes to dig a giant hole and cover herself up. It was her first time to be seen by a man and someone younger than her, not less. She should be like a big sister to Naruto as she is 8 years older than him, but after that, let's just say she has different thoughts about the boy. Sensei, is everything all right? Your face is quite red, the female member of Team 8 stated out as she is just beside Kurenai and has a clan member from Inuzuka clan in front of them. No, not everything is alright, let's just keep moving, watch out sensei. Warned Hinata as Kurenai almost hit a tree while jumping through the forest. Are you okay, Kurenai sensei? In the last second, the blonde that Kurenai tries not to think of pulls her back and stops her from hitting the tree. In that moment, Kurenai has her face heat up again and pushes the blonde away before she moves away quickly. Kurenai sensei, wait for us, yelled Sira, a member from Inuzuka, seeing that his teacher suddenly rushed past him. Naru-kun, are you okay? The kind heart angel Haku asked as she pulled Naruto up from the bushes after he was being pushed down from the branch by a blushing Kurenai. Yeah, I am fine, thank you Haku-chan, let's keep moving forward. The blonde replied with questions in his mind while not having even a single clue for why Kurenai would push him down from the branch. Damn it, if I don't do anything soon, my Naru-chan might be stolen away by those devils, thought a jealous crimson-hair Uzumaki while biting her lips and watching a blushing Kurenai and the kind heart Haku, who is the person closer to steal away her Naru-chan. Present. Hot Spring Country. We are here. After a non-stop traveling through the forest around 3 hours, 3 teams have finally arrived at the country that is located between the border of fire and water. Hot Spring Country. Just like its name, the country is well known for its hot springs and is the most popular place for visitors and travelers. It was the first choice of vacation place. Not to mention that, the country has the largest casino amongst the elemental countries, thus there is a big chance of finding Tsunade there. Kakashi sensei, can we huff rest first? Sakura asked tiredly as she is not used to rushing continuously for such a long time. That applies well to her teammate too. Even Sasuke, who has training directly under Kakashi, also has his shirt sweat drenched entirely. Well, Kurenai sensei, Kushina sensei, what about your team? Kakashi asked as he turned toward the other 2 teams. Sira and Hinata really need a rest as they have overused their bloodline on the way, Kurenai replied as she gently took out a bottle of water and gave it to both her team members. My team is good to go, the leader of Team 9 replied proudly as years of training with her Naru-chan has made the said boy to be at least at low Jonin level. Additionally, after the awakening of his bloodline, Naruto have better control of his chakra. While Haku was the apprentice of Zabuza, so there is no doubt that she can handle this kind of rushing. Except for Yakumo, who is quite weak at physical ability, Kushina has to give the girl a piggyback ride for a short distance before Yakumo recovers her strength. Alright then, Kurenai-sensei, can you take both mine and your Team Genin to the hotel first? I will join Team 9 to search for Tsunade, Kakashi suggested, and after earning a nod from the leader of Team 8 he then ordered his Genin member to follow Team 8 back to the hostel first before joining Team 9. So how do we divide the group? The silver-haired Jonin asked, since he is now basically working with members of Team 9 and he was not familiar with their respective skill. It is clear that Tsunade may be in the casino or the bar in the town, so how about me? Naruto and Yakumo will go search in the casino while you and Haku go search in the bar. Kushina suggested, but Naruto has his own opinion with the suggestion. Kushina-sensei, how about me and Kakashi go search at the bar? Kushina-sensei is right, Naru-kun. I has spent some time in the bar when I was traveling with Zabuza-sama, there nothing to be worry about, said Haku with an ensuring smile. Okay then, please be careful, Haku-chan, Naruto said before he watched both Kakashi and Haku disappear into the crowd of people. Let's get going then, Kushina said, but in her mind, damn it. I just want to make Haku go away from my Naru-chan for a while. Why does it look like I am the bad guy now? Cursed the definitely jealous Kushina, but said nothing. 2 hours later, Naruto and Yakumo both did a transformation jutsu to get into the casino. After 2 hours searching in the casino, Team 9 did not find their target and left the casino in disappointment. For those who just stepped into the casino may think that Kushina and her team members just lost all their money. But the truth is, because of Naruto's Sharingan, which can trace the movement and predict the exact number of the dice, has bring him much benefits, and Yakumo's powerful genjutsu that tricks all her opponent's mind, they do win a lot of money from the casino, and the amount that they win can afford a house in the central area of the Fire Country capital. I cannot believe that old woman wouldn't be in the casino. I swear to God this is the place that she visits most often, mumbled Kushina tiredly after being flirted with several times in the casino and breaking several men's noses. Ka-sama, are you familiar with Tsunade? Yes indeed, I am Naru-chan. I used to live at the Senju compound for quite some time. During that period Tsunade will always come home late and be scolded by Grandma Mito, Kushina replied with a smile as she began to recall her childhood memory. Let's hope Kakashi-sensei and Haku-san have some discovery, Yakumo said rather unpleasantly and walks faster, hoping that they can meet up with Kakashi faster and get out from this place. Come to think of it, Yakumo was being isolated for quite some time, thus making her feel very uncomfortable when meeting up with so many people in such a short time. Kushina-sensei, called out a feminine voice not far away from the group, and the person who calls Kushina is none other than Haku, with Kakashi besides him and an unexpected guest. Jiraiya, Kushina exclaimed in surprise as she remembered the pervert, very an extreme pervert Sanin that always bothered Tsunade when she stayed in the Senju compound. Yo, Kushina-san, it's been a very long time, isn't it? Last time when I saw you, you were still this short, the legendary Sanin said, and couldn't stop his eyes from checking out the crimson hair beauty in front of him. I am very glad to see you again, Jiraiya-san, Kushina replied with a forceful smile along with a tick mark on her forehead, clearly feeling uncomfortable while being checked out by the pervert Sanin. You indeed grew up a lot, Kushina-chan, the pervert Sanin said, and almost had his eyes fly out of his socket while checking out Kushina hourglass figures. So, you are one of the Sanin, Jiraiya, Naruto said with a bit of annoyance in his voice and stepped between his mother and the pervert Sanin, shielding Kushina behind him as to prevent the pervert from checking out his mother. Yes, I am the only and the greatest legendary Sanin, Jiraiya the Toad Sage, the white hair Sanin said, and did a mysterious post that caused some civilians to discuss the group. Sigh, just like the old time, Kushina complained, feeling truly embarrassed by the Toad Sage, with a hand covering her face while Kakashi just quietly lowered his head more and continued to read his porn. By the way, kid, who are you? Jiraiya asked the blonde boy in front of him, but before he can finish his sentence a familiar voice caught both him and Kushina's attention. I am telling you this, I have paid up my debt by saving your teammate, and stop bothering me. For the last time I will not join Kumo. The voice is coming from a fair-skinned woman with brown eyes and straight blonde hair that parts above her forehead. Her hair has shoulder-length bangs that frame her face, and the rest reaches her lower back and has a unique diamond-shaped seal on her forehead as she stormed out from a nearby hostel angrily. Auntie Tsunade. Who dares calling me that? Asked an angry Tsunade. One thing Tsunade hate the most is being called old, and she is so going to murder the person that call her auntie. Anuti Tsunade, the crimson hair Uzumaki said once more and waved happily at the older blonde while walks toward her. Ever since Uzu was destroyed, Tsunade is one of the very few remaining family members that related to her. You are Kushina, Tsunade exclaimed in surprise, as she didn't expect to meet Kushina again. Ignoring that she still has Kumo shinobi following behind her, Tsunade pushed away those standing between her and Kushina and pulled Kushina into her embrace. Kushina-chan, it has been a long time, right? I have missed you so much. Where have you been for all these years? The last Senju asked happily while giving Kushina a bone-crushing hug. Hey, Tsunade Haim. The pervert Sanin greeted politely, but his gaze was not at Tsunade's face but rather at Tsunade's enormous bust. Jiraiya. Hearing someone called her Haim makes Tsunade lose her grip on Kushina and let the said girl have a breath of fresh air. What are you doing here? Tsunade asked with surprise, as her teammate is also someone that keeps wandering around the world for Konoha spy network. What? Can't I visit my old friend? Jiraiya replied with a thumb up before he moved his gaze back to Kushina bust and compared it with Tsunade's. Kushina, although I have to admit you have grown up, but you still have a long way to reach. Tsunade Haim says, shut up you old pervert. No one is asking for your opinion. Tsunade roared in furious and sent the toad sage flying away. Tsunade Haim, the old pervert yelled out while flying through the sky. I will go look for Jiraiya-sama, said Kakashi, and take his leave first. Auntie Tsunade, Kushina-chan, how have you been? I thought you had gone missing after Minato-san's death. Where have you been for all these years? The slug princess asked, but noticed the headband that Kushina was wearing. Oh, so you returned to Konoha, and who are those brats? Tsunade asked as she looked at Naruto, Haku and Yakumo. These are my students, Auntie Tsunade. Oh. So, you become a Jonin instructor. The blonde kid sure reminds me of a certain blonde that you have a huge crush on. Is he your little playboy Kushina-chan? Tsunade teased in a joking tone, a slight smirk on her face as she looked down at Naruto with a belittling look. No, you have mistaken Auntie Tsunade. Naruto is my son. Your son. Don't try and trick me, Kushina-chan. I may be old, but I can still clearly remember your age. How can you have a son this age when you are only 20? Just when Tsunade is going to state out Kushina's age, the said crimson hair Uzumaki quickly covered the older blonde woman's mouth with panic. Auntie Tsunade, what are you doing, Kushina-chan? Tsunade asked and pushed away the crimson hair Uzumaki. Tsunade-sama, a fair-skinned woman called out among the crowd. She has slender build, onyx eyes, jet black hair, and has a pig in her hand and has several shinobi with Kumo Jonin jacket following behind her. Lady Tsunade, you are well known among the elemental countries and you have been wandering around the world for years. Why not join Kumo? We really need someone like you in our country. A dark-skinned kunoichi said. She has long spiky red hair and amber eyes. She wears a long, short-sleeved dress with frilly edges complete with the Kumo flak jacket, 2 simple yellow earrings, fishnet stockings, thigh-high boots with white soles and a forehead protector, and trying to persuade the older blonde woman. This again. I have said many times already that I am not going to Kumo, Tsunade replied with annoyance. She has been followed by this Kumo team for an hour now. Following behind their crimson hair Kumo kunoichi are a boy and a girl. The boy has the same skin color as the Kumo kunoichi but with short, spiky, white hair and dark eyes accentuated with eyelashes curving upwards from the corners. Among the Kumo team, the one that caught most attention is the tall, fair-skinned woman with a curvaceous figure who generally wears a stoic, aloof expression on her face. She has blue eyes and straight, shoulder-length blonde hair and has a sword strap on the back of her waist. Karui, can we just return to Kumo? If Tsunade didn't want to come with us, then let her be. Shut up, Omoi. Tsunade-sama, please reconsider our offer, the girl requested, but seeing that there is a group of Konoha shinobi just behind Tsunade makes her change her attitude. TCH, why are you here, Konoha scum? The girl's name Karui insulted. Hey, who are you calling, you flat chest? Yakumo retorted. This caused the said girl has her face heat up in anger and her make teammate holding back his laughter. What did you just call me? Without thinking about the consequence, Karui pulls out a kunai from her pocket and throws it toward the direction of Yakumo. Clank. However, the kunai didn't hit its target but rather was blocked by Naruto's sword. What do you think you are doing? Kushina asked and began to flare her chakra. Seeing there was a fight on the street, people immediately quickly took a step back as they did not want to interfere in the conflict between shinobi. Is that white lightning? Thought the blonde-haired Kumo Kunoichi with surprise as she saw the moment Naruto pulled out his sword there was a thin layer of white lightning cover on his kunai. Karui. This is too reckless. We must, said the panicked male Kumo shinobi as he worried that the hit may start a war between both villages, but just when he wanted to make an apology his teammate spoke up first. I am sorry for my teammate's behavior. We shall take our leave now, the blonde Kumo Kunoichi, Samui said with a glance toward her teammate and signaled to them that they are leaving. But Samui, what about Lady Tsunade? We can't just leave her. Karui tries to argue with her team leader but is stopped by Samui with a glance that makes her shut up. You just throw a kunai toward me and you just think you can leave like that? Yakumo asked, surely unhappy, toward the Kumo shinobi. We have apologized already, Konoha shinobi, or do you wish to start a fight that may cause conflict between villages? I don't think Konoha shinobi can be this pathetic, Samui insulted without a change in her expression, and this shocked everyone. Why you? Hey kid, let's make a deal then. If you defeat one of the Konoha ninja I will teach you some useful medical technique, Tsunade said with a grin, and prevent the situation from getting uglier. I don't know why but I have a feeling that she wants this fight, thought Kushina with a frown while looking at the blonde-haired girl's blank expression. Tsunade-sama. Argues Tsunade's apprentice as well as her assistant, Itoke Shizune, and I believe that Kushina-chan's student wouldn't lose, right? Kushina-chan, Tsunade said rather happily but received a glance from a crimson-haired Uzumaki who seems to be quite unhappy with this offer. Sensei, I will be the one fighting then, Naruto said, alright. I will teach that boy a lesson, Karui replied, who was eagerly fighting but she was being pulled back by Samui. I shall be your opponent then, said the blonde-haired girl, leaving no more room for argument. Before we fight, what is your name? Samui asked as she calmly looked at her opponent. Uzumaki Naruto, a blonde-haired Uzumaki. Never heard of it. My name is Namikaze Samui and it is a pleasant to fight you, the girl said with a stoic face, but the last name of Namikaze surprised every Konoha shinobi as well as Tsunade. Did she just say Namikaze? That's mean, oh no. Just after the girl gave out her name, she suddenly disappeared from her position and with a flash of white light, her shimmering blade appeared right in front of Naruto. Barely dodging the stab with a backflip, Naruto hurriedly pulled out his sword just as her sword once again poised to strike him. With his lightning-fast reflex, Naruto managed to deflect her swing and lash out a kick to her abdomen, knocking Samui away and giving him some breathing room. As lightning once again struck the ground, the two swords clashed, as the air screeched and sparks flying, two aqua orbs glared into each other. This time it was Naruto who was knocked back, and as Samui followed up with continuous attacks, leaving little to no room for Naruto to defend, let alone retaliate. Feeling overwhelmed by the lightning-boosted speed of Samui, Naruto is really tempted at using his Sharingan, but he thought better of it. Channeling chakra through his muscle fibers, using a certain breathing pattern to calm himself down, Naruto felt as time slowed down and suddenly, the flashing blade approaching him doesn't seem as fast and intimidating as before. Calmly brought up his sword, with a diagonal strike, he nearly deflected the blade out of Samui's grasp as he saw a second of surprise appear on her face, before she did a quick flip to regain her stance. Looking forward with a concentrated gaze, her eyes widened as she saw Naruto seemingly disappear from his position before she felt the air sweeping from behind. She hastily lunged her sword up in defense, before her knees nearly gave out at the sheer strength behind the strike Naruto just dealt. Adrenaline coursed through her, as she felt a sense of excitement, pumping even more chakra before she realized that the speed that she saw was just a genjutsu created to disorient her senses. Feeling confident in her advantage once again, she doubles her efforts in scoring a strike, as Naruto desperately defends before her flurry of attacks, weaving through air in an onslaught. Sending enough lightning chakra to make her sword glow, she decided to end the match with this last strike. Sensing her determination, Naruto also pumped his reserve into his sword, making the blade glow a bright red glow. Time once again slowed down for the two as their blades traversed through space, before meeting with a bright spark. With one final blow, Naruto and Samui were both being sent sliding backward a bit, but just when Naruto prepared to continue the fight, his opponent decided to sheath her sword. I admit your skill at sword is quite good but still lacks some speed, Samui said before she turned to Tsunade. I yield, she said, causing her teammate to be shocked. Why Samui? Clearly you just beat the kid and he can only defend against you. Karui complained, but Samui didn't reply to her question but stated out, we are leaving, and started walking away while her teammate kept complaining to her. Naru-kun-chan, are you alright? Asked both Kushina and Haku as they quickly moved forward to check on Naruto's condition. Yeah, I am alright, no problem, Samui. She is strong in her last name. Namikaze, thought Naruto and sheathed his sword. Meanwhile, so you mean Orochimaru is here, Jiraiya-sama? The silver-hair shinobi, Kakashi asked as he began to exchange information with the Toad Sage who is now resting on a hospital bed. Indeed, my spy told me that Orochimaru may make a move in this town. I was curious at first but it seems that he is aiming for Tsunade Heim, the Toad Sage replied calmly. And you said some mysterious genjutsu has caused Danzo and other shinobi to be in a coma. I said just let Danzo died, he hold too many power after Minato-kun died, if he is gone Sensei can has all the military power once again, complained Jiraiya but caught an eye on the beautiful nurse that are refilling the water and being a pervert how can he give up such golden opportunity. Grope. Ah, pervert. And the crisp sound of a slap can be heard through the entire hospital. That night, Samui. The girl has the same last name as the fourth Hokage. After the battle with the Kumo Kunoichi, Naruto can't stop himself from thinking about that girl that may know something about the fourth Hokage. And some more, he clearly heard Tsunade said that his mother is only 20 plus, was Tsunade-sama mistaken or his Ka-sama lied to him about his heritage? If his father truly is the fourth Hokage then how did he get the Sharingan? But just when his mind kept thinking about these questions he suddenly felt something snuck into his bed. Pulling up his blanket he found a certain red-haired woman. Ka-sama, shish, Naru-chan be quiet. I will give you a small reward for your performance. Just relax and enjoy this, whispered Kushina with a wink and pulled down Naruto's pajamas and began to caress Naruto's flaccid member and balls slowly. Kushina was just wearing a white t-shirt and red lace panties. Naruto can clearly see her cleavages through the collar of her t-shirt, that immediately makes his member go hard. Oh my, whispers Kushina with a faint blush as she wraps her right hand around the member and slides the foreskin back by using her thumb and index finger to make the purple tip of be visible. Kushina begins to slowly stroke and squeeze on both Naruto members and balls. Ka-sama, this is so good. Naruto sighed in ecstasy while trying to control his voice or he may alert both of his sleeping teammates. When presumably began to leak from the purple tip and down to her stroking hand, Kushina decided to increase the speed and the feels of Naruto throbbing erection makes her feels horny. Naru-chan, whispers an excited Kushina as she pulls up her t-shirt and reveals Naruto to her wonderful big S but she decides not to take it off so that if her female students suddenly awake she will be able to quickly redress. You can touch them all you want Naru-chan, teased Kushina and directed Naruto right hand onto one of her big mounds and had his hand slowly sink into the big soft. Ka-sama. You really have the best tits ever, Naruto ed out as he gently played with the tit in his hand, making it bounce up and down. Thank you my Naru-chan, your member is quite impressive too, so far it's the biggest I know, said Kushina honestly and of course the only she has ever seen is Naruto's. And Kushina can feel the in her hand suddenly give a slight twitch like it affects her words. Deciding to take this to another step Kushina quickly remembers the last experience she had with Naruto and taking a deep breath, Kushina swipes her crimson hair behind her ears and brings her mouth close to Naruto's member. Kushina slowly pressed her mouth against Naruto's hard member nervously before she slowly opened up and her tongue began to explore all her son's members including his balls before she once again ed down the shaft and planted small kisses on the balls. As for Naruto he is trying his best not to out loudly and alert his teammate but the sensation of Kushina warm saliva covering his member was very amazing and it even better when he is allowed to grope her s. Finally getting herself ready, Kushina opened her mouth and pushed down Naruto into her wonderful warm wet orifice and almost caused Naruto to come in that moment. Kushina can feels Naruto's member begin to twitch several times and couldn't help but feel happy that her Naru-chan is enjoy this as well. Slowly ing the member Kushina remove her mouth until only the head was back in her mouth, she then on the member's head until she let it go with a pop and quickly dove back. Ka-sama, this is really great. Naruto quietly and biting his lips while put his other hand on Kushina's head, encouraging her to go deeper. As for Kushina, she is also planned to do that. Naruto-san, are you still awake? Both Naruto and Kushina's heart just skipped a beat, when they heard a familiar voice that belonged to Yakumo. Naruto quickly brought his hand to cover his mouth to prevent making any sound. As for Kushina, she can only stay in her position and on Naruto's member, and because of her nervous, Kushina accidentally used more force on Naruto's member. I thought I heard something, mumbled Yakumo before she once again lied down and went to sleep. After Yakumo lies back on her bed for a few seconds and has both Naruto and Kushina mind stop spinning. Ka-sama? Asked Naruto quietly. Hearing that Naruto calls her, Kushina immediately to remember what she was doing and pull back her head and make a clear pop sound. Sorry Naru-chan, let's carry on, said Kushina as she opened up her mouth once again and bobbed her head up and down on his member, and this time because of the nervousness Naruto can see how her lips slid against his member when she pulled away. I am close, Naruto warned while trying not to bulk his hips and thrust deeper, as this may alert Haku, who is not far away from his bed. Hearing what Naruto just said, Kushina pushed her face down as much as possible and took his member all the way to her throat and ed hard and had her tonguing the shaft. As for Naruto, unable to control anymore, he can only hug Kushina's head and push his even farther inside her mouth, temporarily suffocating Kushina and shooting rope and rope sperms down Kushina's throat. It took a moment for Naruto to release Kushina's head, but when he did, Kushina pulled out and made another pop sound and fell to the side and was breathing hard and had a bit of cum overflowing her mouth. Do you like it? Naru-chan? Kushina asks as she looks at Naruto and receive, I love it, from her Naru-chan that makes her grin happily. Okay, that's all for tonight. Reward. Hope we can do it another time, my Naru-chan, said Kushina, but unknown to Naruto, Kushina has slid down her soaking red panties, and before she went back to her bed, Kushina throws her red lace panties to Naruto and give a wink to him. Orochimaru-sama, do we really need to find the slug princess? A man in robe asked, with his ash-gray hair and a pair of black-rimmed circular glasses being his most noticeable feature, waiting for his master reply. Indeed, Kabuto, you may think that even without Tsunade we can still achieve our goal of destroying Konoha. However, Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sannin that betrayed Konoha, replied as he pulled up his sleeve and showed his pale white skin to Kabuto. My living corpse reincarnation jutsu is still imperfect. It only has a 3-year limit, and 3 years are too short for me even if I get the body of an Uchiha. I have been trying to get hold of Sharingan or even the Mangekyo that Itachi possessed, Orochimaru said as he raised his hand. Under the moonlight, it was very visible that there were several seal formulas glowing with light yellow color flown throughout his entire hand. This body won't last long, and before I can find a way to get Itachi's body, his younger brother's body is my only other option. It seems the body of non-shinobi and teenager can only last for 2 years at most. Orochimaru explained that a white snake suddenly burst out from the ground and landed right in front of the two. Hiss! Seeing the scout snake has returned, Kabuto formed a hand sign, and with a puff sound, the snake turned into a scroll. This isn't good, Orochimaru-sama, the assistant said. Jiraiya is in this town too, and there are at least 3 groups of Konoha shinobi that were spotted in the town. If we decide to meet Tsunade, I am certain there will be a fight, Kabuto said and handed the scroll to Orochimaru. It seems something big must have happened in Konoha, or the teacher wouldn't send his shinobi to search for Tsunade. Kukuku. This seems to be interesting. Good thing we have prepared a big gift for them, the Sannin said with an evil smirk. Next morning. Hot Spring Hostel. Okay, let me get this straight. Out of nowhere, Konoha is on the verge of being destroyed and you do not know anything about it before you come to find me? Tsunade asked, annoyed. Apparently, she is very unsatisfied with the answer given by Kakashi. Hokage-sama only told us this much before he sent us to find you, Lady Tsunade. there are many shinobi and civilians are still in coma right now and we really need your help, Kakashi stated, and it was quite surprising already that his yellow book isn't with him. What Kakashi told is indeed the truth, Haim. I also received an urgent message from our teacher, Jiraiya added and tries to raise his hand but ended up only with a loud crack sound and a yelled in pain of the old Sanin as his right hand is still bandaging. Inside the room, everyone is hoping that Tsunade can agree to return back to Konoha. Even Tsunade apprentice Shizune has also tried to convince her master to return. Haim, you should know better. Konoha is your home and Dan would surely want you to return to Konoha. Jiraiya pleaded but only to receive a glare from Tsunade. The mention of Dan surely struck a nerve with her. Jiraiya, are you out of your mind? I have sworn that I will never return to Konoha before I returned my headband to Hiruzen-sensei, you should know better than anyone. That place caused the death of Dan and my little brother, Tsunade yelled in anger as when the name of her fallen lover was spoken, her emotion nearly overflowed and she clenched her fist tightly. And now you want me to return to Konoha because of what? Let me see, because there are many people who have fallen unconscious and all the medical knowledge passed down from my family can't solve the problem. What else? What else is going to happen? I assume I will hear the news that a giant three-headed snake suddenly appeared in the center of Konoha tomorrow, huh? Tsunade asked rather angrily. You know what? I am done with Konoha. My family sacrificed too much for Konoha. Dan and my little brother were also being killed because of a meaningless war caused by Madara, who is oh so coincidentally one of the founders of Konoha, Tsunade said in rage and broke the table into half. After everything happens to my family and me, do you really think I would want to go back to Konoha? Tsunade yelled angrily and looked at the three Jonins and the other Sanin present in the room. At that moment, neither Kakashi or Jiraiya could find a way to persuade Tsunade to return to the village because all the things she pointed out is indeed the truth. After Hashirama, the first Hokage died, the second and third war took away too many Senju's lives, including Tsunade's parents and her only brother. It's reasonable that Tsunade didn't want to return as she sacrificed almost everything to the village and the village did nothing to repay her. I am going to take my leave now. It was because powerful Genjutsu, Kushina split the truth and this caused the last Senju to stop in her tracks. Genjutsu. Kushina-san, it was all because of Danzo trying to extract the power of Kurama clan so a powerful Genjutsu was cast in Konoha, Kushina explained, ignoring Kakashi and Jiraiya protest about not giving out sensitive information to non-Konoha shinobi. And most of those who are still in coma don't suffer from any physical injuries but mental. All Yamanaka clan members and doctors are trying their best now but with your guidance those who are in coma have better chance of surviving, Kushina stated out. Please come back to Konoha, Tsunade-sama. It's none of my business, was all Tsunade said before she left, leaving everyone including her apprentice in the room. Tsunade POV. After leaving the hostel, Tsunade decided to travel to the park and rested under a tree. She really needs some time to think and reconsider everything Kushina told her. Even though she really doesn't want to go back to Konoha, that place holds too large a part of her past. From her childhood until she made a name for herself, Konoha is the place where her journey began and no matter how much she hates the place, it is still her home. If only Kakashi and Jiraiya came to find her, she may not return to Konoha but when she saw Kushina, she knew she had to reconsider her decision. She has lost too many of her family, Kushina is the only one left now. If anything happens to her niece that means she would truly be alone in this world. Kukuku, it's been a long time Tsunade-hime, said a voice from above causing her to look up. Seeing who it was that is talking to her, she prepares for battle before. Don't move, Tsunade, a kunai pushed against her neck coming from behind. Another figure slowly appears from the tree trunk. Orochimaru, what do you want? Tsunade asked as she looks at Orochimaru, who just jumps down from the tree branch and has his apprentice seizing her movement. Kukuku, can't I come to say hello to my old teammate? Then give me a reason why I shouldn't just punch your apprentice first and then turn you into bloody paste, the princess threatened. Kukuku, don't be so impatient Tsunade-hime. I am here to make a deal with you, Orochimaru said with a bite on his thumb. Summoning. Impure world reincarnation, exclaimed Orochimaru and two coffins suddenly burst out from the ground. What is this, Orochimaru? Tsunade asked in glaring Orochimaru with murderer intent. Kukuku, you will see. Open. Obeying to Orochimaru's demand, the coffin opens itself and shows the person that is being kept in it. As that, Tsunade spoke with surprise and tears were pouring down her cheeks. You see, Tsunade Haim, I have mastered the summoning technique of impure world reincarnation invented by your uncle Senju Tobarama. As a Senju, you do know what that means, right? Orochimaru asked with a smirk. So what's your decision, Tsunade? Join me and you will be able to reunite with your loved ones. Meanwhile, Team 9 hotel room. Sigh. What a day. Complained an almost exhausted Kushina as she lays on the bed without even taking off her Jonin jacket. She can definitely understand what Tsunade was implying, as she also once has the same feeling when Minato and her sister figure died in front of her. If it is not because of her Naru-chan, she would rather travel around the world and maybe become a rogue ninja than serving a shinobi village. She has seen too much blood in her life, friends or foe, family or not, she doesn't want to get involved in those things anymore. Kami-sama, what should I do? The crimson hair shinobi thought, trying to find a solution in her head. Kushina-sensei. The medic of Team 9 Haku asked politely and softly to push open the door as she just finished her training with her teammates and decided to go back to their hotel first to bring their teacher to the training ground. Yes. What is it, Haku-chan? The teacher asked as she pushed herself up from the bed, but something seemed off as the young girl was being spotted with faint blush on her cheeks while wandering her gazes elsewhere. Is there something wrong, Haku-san? Kushina asked and wonders why the girl looks like she is trying to tell something to her but can't because of shy. Kushina-sensei, what do you think about Naruto-kun? Haku asked with a little bit of timidity in her voice. What do you mean by that, Haku-san? Kushina replied with a frown on her face. Is this girl trying to declare a fight against her on her Naru-chan? Last night, I saw what you and Naruto-kun were doing under the bed sheet. Haku whispered quietly. Quote, question mark, exclamation mark, quote. Millions of thoughts appeared in the mind of Kushina, but this one she didn't expect. In that moment the redhead's heart almost stopped beating. She really didn't notice Haku was still awake at that time, not to mention saw what they were doing. It was wrong, in many ways, Kushina-sensei, and please don't take this any further. I don't wish to risk my relationship with Naruto-kun or our teacher and student relationship. The black-haired girl yelled out in the last part, and after that her blush immediately turned into crimson red and covered up her mouth with tears almost falling out of her eyes. Sensei, I will wait for you at the training ground, the girl said and quickly turned toward the door. Hawk. Nine-Tails Cell. Idiot. 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 What can I do? What can I do? These kinds of thoughts soon fill all Kushina minds as the panic woman has her body roll around in the ground that kept the nine tails. TCH. You human, was all the things said by the giant nine-tail as he lazily opened his right eye and looked at the panicked young woman. Help me, fur ball. Troublesome humans. Fine, just don't bother me after this, complained the giant beast as he leaked out some of his chakra and let them be absorbed by the panicked shinobi. Reality. Haku. Sensei. Before the said girl could reach the doorknob, she was suddenly bound by a golden chakra chain and being pulled toward her teacher and rudely thrown onto the bed. Sensei, what is the meaning of this? Haku yelled in panic as she felt her chakra was being slowly absorbed by the chain. Haku-chan, but her words died down her throat when she saw a pair of crimson eyes that matched her teacher's hair color in front of her. Opening parenthesis, comma, closing parenthesis. Sens, the black-haired girl almost had her tears flow out as she felt helplessness and fear, just like a rabbit being stared down by a fox in this case. Without any warning, the crimson-hair teacher suddenly captures her innocent student's pink and plump lips and begins to deepen the kiss. Kushina herself was enjoying the feeling of Haku's lips, forcing her tongue into Haku's mouth and having her finger trace down on Haku's body. After minutes of kissing, Kushina decided to take things further as she softly ed on Haku's bottom lip and caused the inexperienced girl to gasp from pleasure. Sensei, pleaded the black-haired girl and had her long black hair become undone and spread around while she was muffled once again by the kiss. Still not satisfied with her progress on this poor little girl, Kushina decided to push further, using her tongue to roam around the cavity of the raven-haired girl, while occasionally twisting their tongues around. The redhead is clearly enjoying herself, taking the lead as she lightly squeezes Haku's round buttocks, eliciting another muffled from her. "You are so cute, Haku-chan." A couple of minutes later, the crimson hair teacher ended their makeout session, ing off her tears and enjoying her prize, a scarlet flushed face Haku who is helplessly being tied down by her chain. Slowly and you ally Kushina begin to pull down the zip of her Jonin jacket and throw it to the ground before taking off her shirt and her sport bra at the same time and makes her E-cup-s jiggle a bit. "I will give you a reward for being so obedient, Haku-chan," the teacher whispered in a seductive tone and blew her hot breaths into her student's ear, making her shiver under. "Sensei." Too afraid to speak, Haku can only watch as her teacher softly traces a finger over her creamy white skin, doing whatever she wants to her body while Haku herself is unable to move. "You are excited, aren't you?" asked the teacher softly while slipping her fingers under her student's silky black hair. "Sensei on." Before Haku can make any reply, her teacher has already continued her doing by softly kissing on Haku's jawline and going downward more to her neck and causing said girl to turn her head away instinctively. Haku can only as the pleasure assaulted her in waves. "Just relax and enjoy this, Haku," said the teacher as she edged the soft white skin of Haku's neck. Being the aggressive type, without any warning Kushina rudely pulled open Haku's blue kimono sideways and gently kissed, nipped, and edged her sensitive skin. "Sensei." Haku edged out loudly as she almost gave into this wonderful sensation. Kushina roughly removed the kimono from her student's upper body completely, taking in the wonderful view and scent of her whimpering student. Haku tried to bite her lips to prevent herself from letting out any s, but she failed, embarrassingly, as she has never in her life been touched by a man or woman in such a way that her teacher is doing to her now. So smooth," Kushina whispered you ally as she kissed, edged and nipped Haku's sweet spot, causing her student's breathing to become ragged and has her bandage bind high C-cup-s heaving up and down heavily. "Let us free these babies, shall we?" asked Kushina, and without giving Haku any chance of reply, she quickly ripped open the bandages binding Haku's high C almost D-cup-s. "You should wear a bra next time, Haku-chan. The bandage only makes your chest look smaller," the teacher whispered softly beside her student's ear and gently groped her student's underdeveloped. Feeling her teacher's cool finger dancing around her S, her pink S started poking straight up, begging for attention. "They are so adorable," Kushina squealed as she saw it and pinched on Haku's right while groping on her left. Deciding to take it further, Kushina begins to pull on Haku's right while ing her left, coiling her tongue around the hem. Feeling the pleasure like an electric shock up her spine, Haku couldn't stop squirming around and arched her back upward while her teacher edged and nibbled on her, doing whatever she wanted to her body. "Oh my, looks like someone is wet," Kushina whispered and moved her finger south, drawing circles on Haku's abdomen before stopping on top of her Venus mound. "Let's see what is hidden beneath these panties." As Kushina pulls down Haku's pants, what comes to her attention is Haku's blue panties that have already been drenched by her juices. Kushina responded teasingly and slid a finger up her thigh and gently ran her finger over the drenched slit of her panties. Haku edged, but her lips were captured by her teacher's lips once more. After a few moments, the teacher finally broke out from the kiss and gave her students some air. But just when Haku think that her torture is going to end here, she gasped in surprise as Kushina pinched her hard oris with 2 fingers over her panties, while her other hand slips inside and rubbing the entrance of her vagina. Couldn't withstand the pleasure overflowing her mind, Haku lets out erratic gasps and incoherent words, along with hot s as she came ever so closer to climax. "It feels good, doesn't it?" Kushina whispers seductively and softly nibbles on Haku's ear while keeping stimulating Haku's most private place. Please," pleaded the ravenette helplessly while tears flowed down her cheeks. "All you have to do is ask, Haku-chan," the teacher said and pulled down Haku's panties before inserting 2 fingers into her student's drenched folds. "I am going to," Haku edged out while her back curled upward while her teacher's finger pistoning in and out of her wet. Kushina finally decided to let go of her student and help her release, as she did a last pinch on Haku's and let the girl orgasmed hard on the bed. The stream of liquid shot out of Haku's wet fold like a fountain, spilling all over Kushina's pants, now also drenched with her own juices. Gasp! After her orgasm, Haku is now unable to move, and while her s heaving up and down with each of her breaths. Kushina placed a gentle kiss on the now tired, and passed out, Raven girl before she picked up her clothes from the ground and walked into the bathroom, leaving Haku on the bed. A minute later. Ah! Kushina yelled, and with her face blushing up in crimson red. Kurama! The crimson woman yelled in rage as she rudely walked into the cage that holds the giant nine tails. What? The demon replied in an impatient tone and opened his left eye to look at the blushing girl in front of him. What did you make me do? A furious Kushina yelled and demanded for an answer from the demon that kept inside of her. I help you to solve your problem, the demon replied dryly, but his reply didn't make the woman calm down, instead it made her more furious. But I didn't tell you to, Kushina, you asked me to solve the problem and I helped you find the solution, the demon said before he closed the link that he shared with the Uzumaki. Besides, you also enjoyed it, the demon said and fully shut down the link with his host. Damn furball. Later that night, Tsunade had woken up at midnight and couldn't go back to sleep again. She turned around and looked at the sleeping form of her apprentice and her pet pig. After her meeting with Orochimaru, her previous teammate that betrayed her in the village, she had to keep drinking to force herself not to think about the deal with Orochimaru. She remembers drinking enough to pass out, but it wasn't enough to let her forget the offer from that damn snake. She also somehow knew that it was Shizune and her niece who brought her back to her room. Now sitting on her bed, Tsunade begins to think back on the details of the offer, and she wasn't certain that she could refuse the offer. She wished that Orochimaru only asked for her money to bring Dan and Naoki back. She wouldn't mind that, as she has spent all her lifetime to paying debts left and right, another one wouldn't make a difference. However, there was a catch to the offer. If she accepted the offer and helped Orochimaru to achieve his goal, she is certain that he would try to destroy the village she had decided to left forever with Shizune. Not to mention, she would have to sacrifice 2 people to bring Dan and her brother back. Seriously though, she wouldn't mind if Orochimaru used the life of a criminal to exchange back Dan and Naoki, but she is certain that Dan wouldn't be happy. Moreover, Dan, who is determined to be Hokage, would not be happy if he discovered that she betrayed the village that he died protecting. Tsunade just wished that Kushina or Jiraiya didn't show up and left her alone with her apprentice. Then she wouldn't need to remember the painful memory and the people she lost. She wishes that she could just run away and hide somewhere no one can find. What can I do? Dan, Naoki, whispers Tsunade sadly while her tears flow down her cheeks. Next day. Kushina-chan, are we going back to Konoha now? Kurenai asked and looked at her fellow Jonin, hoping that she could give a no word for reply. Yes, Kurenai-chan, Kakashi has informed both me and Jiraiya about this. After the incident, Konoha currently lacks human resources, so it's best we head. Thanks for listening. In the next part. In the meantime, please leave a review, I would love to hear your feedback. Especially if it helps me improve the overall story.